Hi, my name is Rebecca DeCook, and I'm in health education at the University of Florida. I had the great opportunity to interview a health educator who actually is a professor at the University of Florida in health education. Most of us probably know him. We've taken classes from him, Dr. Don Chaney. Uh, I'd like to give a little bit of a background on his education, where he came from, how he started in this field. Starting with, he originally did exactly what I think most of 18-year-old, 19-year-olds or straight out of high school do. He jumped out of high school and wanted to go into um, college, do his 4 years, and get out. He had a passion for fitness and business, so that's primarily what he was looking for. He was born and raised in Decatur, Alabama. So he ended up going to the university, let me check my notes real quick, sorry, University of North Alabama, where he sought a fitness management degree. They didn't have anything in health education at that time. As he was there, he pursued his degree and, like I said, didn't really have any other future plans for going on further in his education. But as like most things happen, there was a lot of educators there that were encouraging him to pursue even after his bachelor's and go into get his master's degree in health education, which he did eventually do that afterwards. He had quite a few connections with Mississippi State, and he decided to go to Mississippi State. Excuse me, I have a cold, I'm so sorry. Where he had his major was in physical education and concentration in health education and health promotion. While he was at Mississippi State, he had the great opportunity to do internship, a dual internship. One was at with Coca-Cola, where and Chrysler Dahmer was the other one. Kind of, he did two different internships. And while he was at Coca-Cola, it was basically really his first time that he was able to see health education, health promotion put into action. Chrysler Dahmer the same way. It was corporate wellness programs, but in both instances, it was more like a can education. You know, it'd come from the corporate headquarters, and here's what you want to do and how you want to do it. But it did open up a new world and a new passion that he decided that that's what he really wanted to pursue and see where he could make changes in that. And while he was at Mississippi State too, he also was looking for an online master's program, realizing that there was not a lot of options out there for on distance learning at that time. And this was in 2000 is when he achieved his master's degree. He decided from there that he was encouraged by a lot of professors at Mississippi State to reach up and grab his PhD at that time. And he did end up going back to the University of Alabama after he'd finished his internships and knew that this was really where he wanted to do. And really, after talking with him, really understanding the importance of having an internship in health education, because at that time, it's everything that you've heard and talked about in class or read about becoming more practical and in an applicable way that you can start to apply those things that you've learned in class and really see the guts of everything. He did achieve his PhD in 2003 from the University of Alabama, and since then he has quite the resume. I mean, I do believe it's probably I want to say like 17, yeah, 18 pages long. He has achieved quite a I'm not even talking. Hold on. Hi, my name is Rebecca DeCook, and I am a health education and behavior senior at the University of Florida. I had the opportunity to interview one of our professors. I'm sure everyone at this point has taken at least one class from him. His name is Dr. Don Chaney. He is currently the Associate Director for the Center for Digital Health and Wellness at the University of Florida. He was named that in 2011, And in 2009, he first came to the University of Florida as the Assistant Dean for Distance Education Outreach, Health Education and Promotion. Prior to his arrival at the University of Florida, um, he started out basically like I think a lot of students do, that he went to college to get in 4 years and get out. Um, where he first went into college was at the University of North Alabama, and his passion was for fitness and business. So there really wasn't any um, health education per se degrees out there at that time. So he went to the North University of Alabama, did his 4 years there, and was encouraged to um, pursue a master's degree in physical education, which is where he went to Mississippi State and decided to do that at Mississippi State. His major was physical education with a concentration in health education and promotion. While he was at Mississippi State, he had the opportunity to do an internship with Coca-Cola, had a grant with Mississippi State, and he was able to do a hands-on type of internship there and gain some real knowledge of what health education and health promotion looked like in the real world. Also during that time, he did like a dual, I want to say like a dual internship. He did some internship at Chrysler Dalmar also, which he experienced a lot of ways that health education was being presented in the corporate industry. CAN programs, you've heard him talk about that. If you've taken his class, you've definitely heard him talk about that. And he knew that's not what he wanted, and he knew those were the kind of things that were out there and what changes we could look at. Once he was finished with his degree, his master's degree at Mississippi State, he went on to pursue, by the many encouraging professors, to pursue his doctorate degree. At that time, he returned over to the University of Alabama and pursued his doctorate degree, and his major was then at that time health education, health promotion. He graduated in 2003, and from that time he has done, just his resume is unbelievably impressive. He has done from 2003. He was the senior administrative coordinator. He went over to Texas A&M University and was the coordinator there for Department of Health and Kinesiology. Prior to that, he was at the University of Alabama doing a Department of Health Sciences. He served on the graduate faculty. He served as an instructor for several courses there. And really, he was moving back and forth quite a bit, but gaining so much information and really honing in where he wanted his expertise to be at. He decided in 2003 or 2007, when he was at Texas A&M at the Department of Division of Health Education online courses, is where he really had developed and designed a web interface for hosting of all divisions of health education and distance education courseware, which has really, where he has really developed his passion for online coursework and bringing that to the forefront of the industry now. He felt like there was quite a few, from his experience, there was so many people that were falling in the gap, whether that be people who couldn't get to the university because of rural locations, or maybe people who had 2-year degrees and for just a multitude of reasons could not finish their degrees. There were many master's programs being offered online at that time, but not very many bachelor's degrees that you could get in health education. Prior to giving you just a little bit more background on him, in 2004 to 2007, he also wrote so many different things for the Journal of Health Studies, editor-in-chief of that while he was in Texas. Also, when he came back to the University of Alabama, he was the assistant professor and graduate coordinator there, where he taught several classes. So some of the similar classes that we've taken here at the University of Florida: Foundations and Principles of Health Education, Policy Development of Health Promotion, Stress Management, And all of these were distance learning classes that he was incorporating within the university. Um, Prior to that, he was a distance education coordinator at the University of Alabama. Um, so he's had quite an impressive um, uh, interest and movement within the distance learning and really doing web design. I mean, webmaster. I mean, consultant work, and as you read on in his resume, it's just one step to another that's always led him to staying in that web design. He's really applied himself to that area. Um, he's had several publications with some of the people that I was kind of found myself to, oh, I know their name. And Dr. Stellifson has worked with him doing publications such as Good News and Bad News for Public Health Education Advocacy. Um, Several James Eady, if you've taken any of Dr. Cheney's classes, you know he's definitely someone that he is was very influential in his career at the Texas when he was in Texas. He's done research reports. He did a 9-year review of selected risky behaviors and attitudes of Butler County and adolescents. Just one thing after the other. Another thing that I found in his resume is his continued dedication to grants, and he has really started doing writing quite a few grants and working towards that. And if you can, I'm just spot looking, and I see 10 just by looking at it. He's done several presentations. Um, as a graduate student and an undergraduate student, and those are just, I can't even begin to list them. Obviously, he is dedicated to creating a legacy for us to follow, for other students to follow, and on a personal note, while I interviewed Dr. Cheney, I had asked him, where do you see health education going in the next 5 years? And he was very positive in his response. His response is that he foresees us as health educators becoming a vital part of the healthcare industry, especially as healthcare reform. Some of it has been implemented, and others may or may not. But he was explaining to me that there was a diabetic management, or you can get our CHES certification, and they can be billed. The diabetes managers can actually bill as a third party, and that's where he sees that health education will probably be going with the limited time that is available for physicians to see their patients, and it's insurance, and there's so many different reasons why that happens. Many times patients walk out and they don't understand what has been told to them or how it's going to affect them, or they have so many questions. This is where we can step in and be a real advocate for the healthcare industry. Another few things I asked Dr. Cheney was, where does he, what kind of legacy does he want to leave for his work? And really, as I spoke with him for a good 67 minutes to be exact, I could hear the passion and enthusiasm and dedication in his responses to me. He is dedicated to inspiring his students, and really loves spending time working with his students and creating a passion in them to further their careers also in health education. Although most of his time, I asked him about his daily routines, and most of his time is not spent doing that, but that is where his passion, where he'd like to see his legacy be, that he was an intricate part, excuse me, I have a cold, intricate part in influencing others to become health educators and creating change in the healthcare industry and helping people improve their quality of life. He is very passionate about that. He is very enthusiastic. He's very hopeful towards what our educational system is going to provide for the healthcare industry and for helping change quality of life, not just in a hospital atmosphere, but as a real advocate for healthcare. his legacy, like I said before, he really is inspiring his students. And I, for one, can attest to that. I was one of the ones that he was speaking about when he said there were so many that fell in the gap. I started my college career as in nursing at Austin Peay State University, and so many things took place that I was not able to complete that. And as the years went by, and I really wanted to return back to school, but I kind of got lost. I didn't know how to get back in and pursue and what I could pursue. And I knew I didn't want to go back into nursing for just a variety of reasons. And I fell in love with nutrition, and I went and visited with the University of Florida, and they have a health education and behavior program. If not for be it like people like Dr. Don Chaney, then I would not be able to pursue my career and all the people who have dedicated their lives at the University of Florida to the online. And I know that it's new and it has its little bugs here and there, but for every professor, for every person that has dedicated their life to online education, it's people like me. I will be 50 years old. I have a grown son, and I'm able to go back. I'll be the first person in my family who, out of 8, I have 6 sisters and a brother. I'll be the first person in my family to graduate from college, and it's due to the fact that people like Dr. Don Chaney, who are innovative, who are taking technology, the professors who have dedicated their time and their efforts to education and improving our quality of life. This is the legacy that Dr. Chaney is leaving for all of us to follow. And I couldn't be more appreciative of it. His resume is impressive, absolutely. But what's more impressive is his ability to create change and desire in people. And I, for one, like I said, one of 8, will be a graduate, and more importantly, for me, honestly, be a graduate of the University of Florida. That is quite an achievement for the different obstacles that I've walked through. Also, his dedication to healthcare industry and creating educators to go out there for preventive care also touches me. I lost my sister 4 years ago to breast cancer. She was one of those that fell in the gap. She was in a lower socioeconomic group and just fell in the gap. And I truly appreciate all the dedication from all the professors and people like Dr. Don Chaney, who have dedicated his life. And like I said, I could sit here and read you his resume, but just talking with him and spending time with him and hearing his passion and desire for creating change and desire for educating young minds and not so young minds is encouraging, and it makes you take the next step. And I hope that I can be just as a positive influence as my career goes forward as he has been in my life. I thank you for your time. This was not the greatest interview, I know, but I think that I hope that I've given you some insight on who Dr. Don Chaney is at the University of Florida, and have encouraged you in some way to keep going forward and to pay it forward for all the dedication and all the experience and time and knowledge that they are investing in your lives, and that we can all leave a legacy to be proud of. Thank you for your time.